How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we're going to talk about so-called trans women dominating Connecticut high school track and field. Now, I think I spoke about this before in a previous video, but we have more information now. There are more so-called trans women competing, and you have celebrities giving their take on it, and they're getting kicked back for it. But before we get to all the other things, let's talk about this particular situation in Connecticut that's going on right now. In a couple years past, over the past 2 or 3 years, I will say, there's been one trans woman that's been dominating the whole field, and that is a person by the name of Andraya Yearwood. They come in first all the time because you have a biological male that's competing against women. Okay, so obviously there's an unfair advantage right there. But now you have a second so-called trans woman, a person by the name of Terry Miller. Andraya Yearwood and Terry Miller came in 1 and 2 in the 55-meter race. I think Terry Miller came in at 6.95. Yearwood came in at 7.01. The third place person, a non-trans woman, came in at like 7.25. So you see the gap, okay? Miller and Yearwood are pretty much neck and neck. But the third place person who came in closest to first was still way off of the two biological males. This is unfair. Now, I know everybody says, you can pick your gender, be whatever you want to be, and you can't judge. And it's not even about judging. If a person wants to call themselves a female, if they want to put on a dress, a wig, or whatever, that's their business. I don't really care about their fashion choices. I don't care about how they like to call themselves. I don't care about what their name is, if they want to change their name, and that's fine. I don't really care. But when you're talking about things like this, competing against women, even going to the same penitentiary as women, it's not right. First of all, why even have a men's league and a women's league? What is the purpose of having that? Why divide the genders if there's no differences? Okay, obviously you divide the genders because men are going to have the advantage over women. If you just lumped men and women together, there will be no women's sports. If you just said, okay, no more WNBA, let's just have the NBA, then there would be no female basketball players. There's not one woman in a WNBA that is as good as the last guy on the worst team in the league. That's the reality of the situation. You got guys that are playing high school basketball that could dominate over WNBA women. So how are you going to have WNBA women compete with NBA guys? It's just not possible. Okay, I've seen WNBA basketball and I've seen NBA basketball. Never have I seen a woman do a 360 dunk, and you got guys that's just in the hood, like 6'2", 6'3" that can do that. But I've never seen a woman do that. Okay, all you see is basically layups, mid-range jump shots, the occasional three-pointer, and that's pretty much it. You're not going to see the high-flying acrobatics, the block shots, and the height. You're not going to see a 7-foot-tall woman dribbling between her legs and stuff like that. If you see a really tall woman like 6'8", 6'9", she's going to be very clunky and very just kind of gangly. That's just pretty much what it is, especially juxtaposed next to a professional male basketball player. But for now, I digress. Track and field, obviously, you're going to have a disadvantage if you're a woman trying to compete against men. It's very simple. And I'm reading some of the articles about this, and the girls are like, it's demoralizing because before you even go into the race, you know what the outcome is going to be. You know that you can't beat this male in a race. It's just not possible. You're talking about trained athletes. Like I said, if you're talking about a highly trained woman that's racing against a guy off the couch, she'll have the better chance of being able to win. But two trained athletes, one a biological male, one a biological female, it's just no competition. It's unfair. Okay. It's just not right. And it can be dangerous at times. Let's look at Fallon Fox in the MMA. This is a male to female transgender that is competing with women. That's extremely dangerous. I think this person fractured a woman's skull. I mean, and the person, Fallon Fox, is not even really that skilled. You're just talking about a tough guy, basically, beating up on women, but not necessarily skilled as a fighter. So the person did lose at least once, maybe even more than that. but that's only because they're not a skilled fighter. But as far as brute strength and power, the advantage is clear and it's unfair. It's not right. And then beyond that, they're talking about, well, what if the so-called trans women are taking hormones to reduce their testosterone and stuff like that? That's not going to change your bone structure. That won't change muscle structure. That won't change the fact that you're actually a male. It ain't going to change that, okay? If Shaquille O'Neal began to take hormones to reduce his testosterone, that still won't change the fact that he's 7 foot tall and can move like a bird when, he was in his prime. It just is not going to actually change that. And then isn't that doping anyway when you're either taking estrogen or testosterone, whatever it is, to reduce or increase your levels? Isn't that called doping? Because if you get caught with testosterone as a male and you're using that, I mean, at what point do we say that this is just a really silly experiment, that biology really matters? And it's crazy how the left is trying to push this, because they'll be the same ones that say science matters. The right hates science when it comes to climate change, an unproven theory of weather on planet Earth. But when it comes to something so simple as XX versus XY chromosomes, all of a sudden, science is irrelevant. It doesn't really matter. You could be whatever gender you want to be, et cetera, so on and so forth. This is madness. Now they're talking about trying to give men like implanted wombs so they can actually grow a baby, and then they're going to try to get them to breastfeed. I mean, what are we thinking about here? This is just really madness. Now, on to the celebrity opinion. Martina Navratilova, obviously Hall of Fame tennis player, one of the best to ever do it, if not the best to ever do it, came out and said that biological men should not compete with biological women. It's unfair. They have an advantage. It doesn't matter how many hormones and drugs you take. It's still going to be the physical differences that are too much to overcome. That's just what it is. Now, she got some hot water for that. There's this group called Ally Athlete or Athlete Ally. I guess it's some kind of LGBT athlete organization. I suppose she was on the board of advisors or something like that. Well, she was removed from that. Matter of fact, she was an ambassador. So she got removed from that because of her comments, but the comments were real. I don't understand how anybody could say anything different. You can be LGBT and be an athlete. I mean, there's plenty of gay male and female athletes that are very good. I mean, the WNBA is chock full of gay athletes, but nobody cares about that. If you like watching women play basketball, then go ahead. If there's gay guys in the NBA, NFL, Major League Soccer, Major League Baseball, that don't really matter to me. As long as you're able to go out there, perform in the field, and you do what the team needs you to do, then that's just what it is. Who cares about what you do in your bedroom? That's not the point. The point is when somebody says that I am born a male, but I want to put on a lace front wig with some dreads on it and then call myself a woman and running track and field against women, that whole thing is unfair. This is all pretty much planned out, I want to say, or foretold in Juwanna Mann, the movie. In Juwanna Mann, the plot, if I'm not mistaken, and if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below, but the plot was you had a male that was a failed professional athlete. He was not able to get on any kind of teams, and his agent was just like, okay, I'm about to stop taking your calls. And then him and his agent came up with the harebrained scheme of dressing as a woman to compete against women so he could be a star and he could get all the money and attention that he wanted that he did not get from the professionals over with the men. That is what's happening here, in my humble opinion. A lot of these guys that are racing against women probably couldn't cut the mustard against the men, so they just switch teams, literally. Maybe they're gay, maybe they're straight, who knows, who cares? But the point is, if you are a biological male, compete with the males. You could put on your wig with the dress coming out of it and compete with the men. And if you don't do well, then that's what it is. If you do well, then that's what that is. So that is pretty much all I got to say. What say you? Do you think that these trans women should be able to compete against biological women? If you think that way, please explain to me why. Is there a difference between men and women biologically? I mean, it's just so simple. We can just have that be the discussion. It's not even about LGBT. It's not even about what you identify as. You can identify as Thomas the Tank Engine. You can identify as Hurricane Andrew. You can identify as a Chinese finger trap. You can identify as whatever you want. It doesn't matter. It's all about what's right, what's wrong, what's fair, what's unfair for men and for women. But that is pretty much all I got. So whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.